I think it's deeper than just
what makes a generational talent? Break it down.
so generational talent, and this is going to go back to a video that you sent me that kind of posed this question, right? As far as like Steph Curry and whether he's generational or not, based on what Gilbert Arenas and on his podcast and what he said, pretty
Right.
much. Yeah, and he goes through this longer explanation. You can get into it deeper if you want to go there, but it talks about Steph Curry not necessarily being generational because his what he was born with physically,
And he
it's
added
not
Kobe to
something
that
that
too.
was that again. He had a
He
Kobe
added
in there,
Kobe in there too. Yeah, he did.
but
He
I feel
said
like
Kobe and Steph all the same.
so, and he's saying like your achievements isn't what make you generational. I feel like it is. I feel like it is, unless you were given the platform and you achieve things given it, right? You were given the platform and you say, okay, it serves you on a platter and you win. But anytime that what I'm saying, lace up your bootstraps, pick up your tools, grab your tool bag, and you go to work, and you can build your way to the ultimate level, and you can win and win consistently, and you can set records and break records, but you didn't do it as it was handed to you on a platter, that's still generational to me. Because you have something else, just because it's not in a physical form, whether you're a physical mammoth and you're this specimen that's just you were born with a 7-foot body weighing 300 pounds that can be mobile. What's up here and what's in here? Not everybody has that. Not everybody has that in their chest to be able to go and get it done. Not everybody's born with that. So that's something that is generational to me because you were born with that. For Steph Curry to go out and set records and overclimb the obstacles that he had to climb, even though he come from an NBA family, his family already NBA. So can you say he served on the platter a little bit? Maybe so, a little bit, but he still had to go work. He still had to pick up his tool bag. He still had to lace up his boots, and he still had to go climb that ladder. Yeah. And he got it done at an ultimately high level. Not just enough to get into the league and have a good 10-year career, you know what I'm saying, coming off the bench every now and then, putting up 10, 12 points, 4 assists, getting 15 minutes a game. No, being a superstar and breaking all the records possible and by leaps and bounds. But he did it because he had what's up here, not everybody's born with, and what he got in his chest that not everybody's born with. So that's, to me, that's generational. That's still a thing of maybe genetic or maybe a God-given thing, because not everybody's a leader, right? Mm-hmm. And you say it's because Martin Luther King wasn't, or Malcolm X wasn't the stature of a human, what they were given was a certain God-given talent or ability to reach people, to do things, to move, and to have a heart to stand for something. That's generational. So not just looking at it as a physical saying you're Shaq and you're 7'2" and you're 300 pounds and you can move, that you're generational. Nah, yeah, it's internal too. That's physical. Like it's in you to be able to use your mind to be able to overcome and accomplish.
So for me, I agree with what you're saying, and I just differentiate what you would call it. So, what you're describing to me is a generational athlete. You know what I mean? A generational athlete. But I do differentiate when it comes to that word talent. If we're going to say talent, then we're just talking about what you were born with. You know what I'm saying? Like, not what you crafted. What you crafted is your skill. And when we combine your skill and your talent together, then we get the athlete himself and what he is, everything that he is. But if we just talking about the talent that a person has, Steph might not be generationally talented, you know what I mean? But he's generationally skilled. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as that, because Kobe wasn't a generational talent as far as what he came out the womb with, but he was a generational athlete, once in a generation type of athlete that you will get because of his mind, his heart, all these factors that you described. You combine those, that's what makes him special. The combination, not an attribute, or you know what I mean? Like, because to Gilbert's point, Gilbert was making the point that yes, what makes Steph special is that he had to pass all these he had to get all these accolades. He had to pass all these records in order to be considered this. When a lot of these other guys, like a Mike Tyson, they were already calling him a generational talent at 20. They were calling Michael Jordan from early on. He was a specimen in college. You know, you knew he was about to be special. Or a Shaq. He's 7'1", and he was just once in a lifetime athlete. You knew it from early on. So that was his point. They have these attributes that you say, I can't be what they are. But you look at Steph and you say, I can be that if I work hard. I looked at Mike as a kid and said, I can't be that. That's part of why I didn't ever want to be like Mike. I can't be that, but I'm going to go play like Allen Iverson because I can do that. I knew what he meant by that.
That's the trick. To me, that's the trick. To say that, okay, you can be Steph Curry. Not everybody can be Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I can't be Steph Curry, right? And I'm somebody who feels like with the same amount of mental fortitude and heart that I talked about, like that Curry had to have, I still have that, but I can only apply it in certain areas. I can't apply it to basketball. It's not going to translate in basketball. It's going to translate to me being a soldier. You know what I'm saying? But so, are you going to say that Steph Curry's not athletic, or that Kobe Bryant's not that? Kobe Bryant can jump out the gym. That's athleticism. I can't. I'll never be able to jump like Kobe Bryant could. I still got the heart. I got Mamba mentality or whatever you want to call it, but I can't jump like Kobe Bryant. I can't.
Kobe couldn't jump.
I can't jump with the ball like Steph Curry.
Kobe was above average jumper, but not out the gym jumper. Like
Kobe, when Kobe was 18, 19, 20, Kobe could jump out the gym.
But his vertical was like a 36 or something. You know what I'm saying? Above average NBA like 28. He's above average, but 40 and up is when you start talking about the people that's special, like special jumpers.
So his head's not above the rim, but he can
that's
still.
That's what I'm saying. So Kobe was gifted. He was good at a lot of things, but not necessarily great. Not huge hands, not extra long arms, not extra jumping ability. He wasn't Mike. As far as Mike was very gifted, these big giant hands, and still to this day, the highest vertical in NBA history. Mike was gifted. He was way beyond the average person. Now, he might not have been a big body, and he had to use a lot of skill to still become what we call the greatest. It took him combining that with his skill, but he had gifts.
Yeah. So
like me, I'm somebody that's good at everything, not really great at nothing. So I understand what he means by that, to be one of those people. Mm-hmm. Yes, I got an advantage because I'm kind of good. I can kind of do anything if you give me a moment with it. But at the same time, I just wasn't born with this ginormous amount of talent in one particular area where I could just translate it and focus on it. And I think that's what Steph and Kobe, yes, they were above average, but they weren't Shaq, they weren't Mike, they weren't Vince Carter, they weren't these people.
To me, I still feel like that's still generational, because no matter how hard I work, I can never work to achieve what Steph Curry achieved. I can never work to be as proficient as Steph Curry is, as proficient he was. No matter how much I try to work on my footwork, I will never have the footwork that Kobe Bryant had. That's still, just because it doesn't look like Blake Griffin jumping out the gym, just because it doesn't look like Kyrie Irving, how he handles the ball for Kobe Bryant. Steph Curry's close. I still feel like that's still a skill and a talent that's not everybody still can do. Not everybody's still gifted in that way, to be able to take whatever skills that you have and hone it in a way, no matter how hard you work. So to me, to say I'm not generational, or to be not generational, that says whatever skill set I have, that everybody or majority of people can do it if they try hard enough. If they put in the same amount of hours or more, that they can do what I'm doing. And there's the majority, 95% of people who, no matter how hard they work, they will never be able to do what Steph Curry has done. That, to me, that's still generational, just because it doesn't look like Shaq. You got somebody like Darius, what was his name? Darius Miles.
Yeah.
Who was supposed to have been super ultra talented and generational when he was coming up. He had those talks. But now if you ask somebody and say, was Darius Miles generational? No. But he had the same talks that LeBron had. He had the same kind of hype. Not the same kind of hype. I'm putting a little bit more on it. He had hype.
Yeah.
He had hype. Darius Miles had hype. If you know who Darius Miles is, talking about the Clippers, early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s.
They got a podcast. I'm sure the young folks listen to it, or whoever listen to us.
Yeah. Got a podcast?
Yeah, him and Quentin Richardson got one together. course.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, the old Clippers.
Yeah.
Hey, I did like that Clipper squad though. Quentin
They were
Richardson and
nice.
Darius Miles.
That
Who
was
was that?
fun.
Who
That
else
was a
was on the
fun
team?
team.
Was it? Yeah, before
Uh,
Lob City. That was the fun Clippers before
they had a point
Lob
guard
City.
too. That was fun.
They had a
That
few
fit right
pieces
in with
over
the
there.
yeah.
And if I'm
I
not
can't remember
mistaken,
that.
Sam Cassell went over there and played with him for a while too.
Yeah, he did play for a little bit. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Is it you saying okay with the generational talent thing? Mike Tyson, for instance, we crowned him a generational talent, but if you look back at his career, we learned that he could be beat by some guys who he
Mhm.
probably shouldn't have lost to.
Yeah.
Did the losses never took away from him being a generational talent? Like a Roy Jones, the losses never took away from it because they were that in advance, and we already knew they were that, and all they needed to do was just prove it. After they proved it, the rest of it
Yeah.
we can wash it
Yeah.
off their resume. Let's say if Steph won one ring instead of the four, would he still be a generational talent? Because I think if Mike won one, he would still be a
Okay.
generational talent. If Shaq
So
won one, he still would have been this dominant player, like in our eyes.
here's where Gilbert Arenas has holes in his theory. Just like what you asked. He said a genius, and it's because they're not a billionaire or whatever, they haven't invented something, they haven't become great, and they're working at a fast food restaurant, but they're still a genius. They're still generational, right? So generational intelligence. They're a
Yes,
genius.
yes,
So Steph Curry, he just had to go out and prove and show the fact that hey, I am generational. I do have this thing in me that not everybody has. So let me go and show it. I still have to show it. So whether it translates to wins or it translates to success or not, you have to show it. Now, some people can go win, like Robert Ory. Would you say he's generational? No, but he has rings, right? John Sally,
right.
is he generational? No, but he has rings. So just because somebody doesn't have the accolades doesn't take away from whether they're generational or not. Just like Gilbert Arenas said about the geniuses, they might not have the accolades to show that they're geniuses, but they're still a genius by standard, by testing or whatever it is. But Steph Curry is still that, but he still had, in order for people to see it, he had to go and prove it. Now, some people you can see that, oh wow, they have a talent that's like none other, but then they have to have that success to back them to support the claim of hey, they're generational. They have a certain talent level that nobody else has because they have these accolades to go along with it. Now, some people can do that with or without the accolades, or you can just see it and recognize it. And there's some people who have to go and show and prove it. And that could be anybody in life that people doubt and say, well, you're not this, you're not that, you're not as great as you think you are. Well, okay, well, let me go prove it. Now I got to go show you. And I think that's what Steph Curry did. He said, well, okay, you're saying I'm not that great when he was at Davidson College. Let me go show you how great I am. He makes it to the league. Okay, you're still doubting me. Let me show you how great I am. Now let me work to show you how great just to prove I am generational. So I think that's what Steph Curry did and had to do, just to show you. Now you're going to doubt him if he doesn't have that coming along with him.
Yeah, I think without the rings, yeah, you do doubt him. If he don't break Reggie Miller's record, you doubt him. He
Yeah,
needed every single piece of the puzzle for people to believe he was generational. Without
absolutely.
it, he'd have
So
been Reggie Miller.
yeah,
Yeah,
he would have been just a Reggie Miller, exactly.
yeah.
But
Or
I
like
just
Gilbert
say
and
that
said, he would have been Trey Young or Damian Lillard without it.
yeah.
He'd have been those
But
guys,
he
which
went,
they
he
were
went
right about
and
that.
he drew the, but he went and he drew the line in the sand and said, "Nope, I'm on this side of what y'all are calling generational." To me, from my mind's eye, I think by
So if
him going
Damian
to
Lillard go get a chip, he can go be generational too.
not if he just gets one chip, he has to
You know, Dame my
show the
guy,
thing.
but I don't think so.
But say he goes in the next 5 years, he starts a dynasty with
Let's
the
see you
Bucks.
win two. Let's say they win two.
Or he wins too, but he does it in a fashion that's unlike any other. That's what Steph Curry's done. Steph Curry's he's not Dame. Dame Lillard is not on Steph Curry's level.
No.
Dame, as clutch as Dame is, as nice as Dame is, as much as we like Dame, he hasn't done it in the fashion. He hasn't done anything in the fashion that Steph Curry's done. Steph Curry came in and just electrified the league to put eyes on him and say, yo, that is a guy. Okay. Now we doubted him. He has his physical his limitations or whatever, but he is still Steph Curry. The guy is like outrageously automatic. We've never seen
Yes.
anything like this. That's generational. That's the line in the sand. That's the difference between a Dame and a Steph. And then he has the accolades to go along with it. You have to say
He
he's generational.
see he's a special player, but I don't know if the team accolades is what defines you as a special player. I
Well,
think
not completely.
I think maybe him breaking Reggie's record along with passing the eye test is what gets him there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if the team accolades like the championships, it helps. We all
Yeah,
bunch
oh,
it
yeah,
in.
he doesn't.
But
Yeah, he
even
doesn't.
minus those, you kind of know who was still the guy. We wouldn't still talk about T Mac and people like that if it was
Yeah,
just
it
about
was
that.
just shit. Yeah, because we
Yeah,
used to look at T Mac and say, "Yo, T Mac was ridiculously good. The guy was
yeah,
great,
yeah.
but he
We
doesn't
still
have
look at
anything
him
to
and
go along with it."
Iverson and Barkley and these guys and this with this allure for
Mm-hmm.
them. So it ain't just that; it is some of your individual what makes you special. But
And
I
I
don't
think
know.
for like for maybe like us or Gil and being adults while we're watching it happen, I guarantee you, if you talk to any kid who grew up watching it in the same fashion that we watched Penny Hardaway in the '90s, or we watched Barkley in the '80s and '90s, we watched these guys as we were growing up and seeing it, and because the way we look at things as older gentlemen, you know, as these guys who are playing sports and stuff, we look at it with a different lens. We don't
Yeah,
consider certain things or herald certain things or gawk or all or be in awe of certain things as we progress in life. Things aren't as shocking to us as they once were. You know what I'm saying? We don't
mhm.
have that same awe for things. But you look at people who are growing up and they're watching, just like people say LeBron's the greatest of all time because they watched him as they were kids growing up. We watched LeBron as adults. So our outlook is a little different. So if you put Gil and you put Gil as a kid, and he watched Steph Curry and his throughout his career, I guarantee you his story is going to be a lot different of his outlook of Steph Curry.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. That is a very true point. You start to eye things with a different lens and under a different lens than what you would as a kid, and all factors gone. So, whereas if I were to watch Penny Hardaway as an adult, maybe I wouldn't feel how I feel today about him. But I will say this, and we can move on after this. It's my ending part of this conversation. I do think Steph is a generational athlete. I think he's special. And I think he's one of those once in a lifetime type of players, but I don't think his talent is a generational talent. I do think his skill is what got him there. I don't think it's his talent. I think he had above average talent and very, very, very high level skill. And when you combine them, you get a special athlete. And I think
Okay.
the same can be said for Kobe.
Okay.
That's why you get an
Okay.
Iverson, and he's all talent. He's not skilled. I mean, he's skilled, but he's all talent. You know what I'm saying? That's
Talent.
what got him over
Yeah.
the edge.
Yeah. You got to bring both of them together. But hey,
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you.